Yeah, we are live. How about you, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Live recruiting call-in show. Today is Tuesday, October the 4th. We are 3 days removed from Auburn's 17-21 loss. I said that backwards, but it's still the same score. 17-21 loss to the LSU Bengal Tigers. We are here to talk about it. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. If you're not a member of that site, now is a fantastic time to do so. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff that you see, a lot of stuff that you don't. We're going to have it all covered. Give us a try. Auburn Live on 3, 50% off right now, guys. Also, check out our Auburn Live. You're probably on our Auburn Live YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Hit that notifications button. It'll tell you when every video gets uploaded. We are going to talk. We're going to let you guys dictate the show, the subjects, the topics, the calls, the callers, the questions. And here to help me do it all, as always, Mr. Jhead and Mr. Cole Pinkston. Mr. Jhead, how the hell are you, big dog?
I'm doing fantastic, brother. Glad to be here tonight. Just really interested to see what our fans want to talk about. And look, it is an answer-all session tonight from Jhead. If you ask it, I'll answer.
Okay. The gloves
I'm
are
fired
off.
up.
There you
That
go.
makes me fired up.
Cole is fired up. I don't even have to ask Cole how he is. Cole, you're fired up.
I am fired up. If Jhead's going all in, man, that's what I'm here for tonight.
You guys might, I will go all in tonight. So call, guys. If you want the answer to something you think I know the answer to, call in.
Or just an opinion.
There you go. Or just a opinion.
Well, I will get us started off until Zach jumps in here. I will say the environment, the atmosphere Saturday night against LSU was, I gave it a 7.5 to 8 on Auburn standards. It was good. It was really good. The recruits were freaking loving it. Cole saw it. I saw them. They were there with a lot of them with the basketball team there, having a great time. The light show at the end of the third quarter, the swag serve, the pregame, man, it was awesome. And a lot of top recruits were there to see it, including a large group from Miami, including Ruben Bain, the 4-star edge. Tony Mitchell, the 5-star DB, was there on an official visit. 3-star linebacker Alex Sanford was there on an official visit. James Smith, 5-star. Quay Rusov, 5-star. All these guys were there. Clay Whedon, the Michigan State commitment, was there. So a lot of top targets in the 2023 class. We ain't talked about the 2024 class, and we won't spend too much time on them. We've got a whole year to get those guys names out, but the 2023 class, which we're looking at, 2 months until signing day, fellas.
Yes.
2.5 months, I should say. 2.5 months until signing day. A lot can happen between then and now. But first, thoughts on the game. Auburn jumped out. Did they jump out to 17?
17-point lead.
Yeah.
And once again, could not score and had some blunders there at the end of the game. Had a couple of chances to win it. And couldn't pull it off, man. It was, interception. It was muff punt.
Yeah.
It was tough. It was tough to watch. Jhead, your thoughts on the game, your uninhibited thoughts on the game.
Well, look, I don't think you could have asked anything more from our team in the first quarter and the first half of the second quarter. And then around the 6-minute mark of the second quarter, things started to go sideways to a degree. The turnovers started to happen. And we just, unfortunately, in the second half, we moved the ball. Unlike in weeks past, we moved the ball in the second half, but we just could not capitalize in the red zone. And anytime you turn the ball over 4 times, you lose the turnover ratio 4-1, it's going to kill you, especially when you're not consistent on the offensive side of the ball. And that is our biggest issue right now, is consistency and not having that one thing we can go back to. We did some different things in this game. I thought we spread it out better. I thought that Robbie was able to capitalize on extending plays and our receivers on scramble drills, being able to bust some things. But there just wasn't that consistency that you need, the efficiency within the offense to truly beat a team like LSU. And that was a game we needed. It was a big one, but like you said, as far as recruiting is concerned, and this is just from what I saw on TV, but the atmosphere was absolutely electric. It was everything that you expect from Auburn versus LSU at night in Jordan-Hare. Just a fantastic environment that was created by our fans, by, the operations people, everything that goes into that. It was a great performance from that standpoint. And I think from recruiting, if we weren't where we are from a needing a win standpoint, from a stability perception standpoint, that is a win in recruiting, that atmosphere. That sells Auburn.
That's right.
The problem is the loss and what that does for this coaching staff. It kind of negates what you may have gained through the performance.
Stability was Auburn's biggest concern coming into the season. We all felt like that's why the commitments were slow to come. Don't feel like there's any more stable ground now. Maybe it's a little bit more instability. I tell you what, man, real quick, Zach, and we'll get to the call. But I've never wanted – I'm not emotionally invested in these games anymore. I've been doing this long enough. It's a job to me. Surely, I absolutely hope Auburn wins. It makes my life easier. So, absolutely, I'm pulling for Auburn to win. I'm not cheering for them to win, but I'm hoping and pulling for them to win. But emotionally, I was invested in those kids Saturday night. I wanted them to win so bad because they deserved it. They busted their ass, and I loved it. And I was hoping so hard for them to win because they deserved to win. And so I don't take losses hard, and I didn't take that one hard, but I had wished. I walked away going, man, that's the first time in a long time that I wished Auburn had won. Like, damn it, I was mad on those kids. Zach, we'll go to the phone lines. If you got us one.
We got like 4 or 5 callers.
Oh, shit, my bad.
Jeez.
Plenty of opinions coming in, I'm assuming.
All right.
Woo!
5810, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from? And he hung up. Man, that's a tough loss for him.
Moving on to the next.
He must have had something real spicy.
Yeah. 1370, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Yo,
Yo.
it's Lord George.
LG.
Hey, LG.
Get the show started off, George.
Well, Cole has done an excellent job reviewing the plays and the breakdown of the offense and stuff. And I guess I'll just stick to my usual question about the O-line. And I know it's not a recruiting question, but kind of see how this new version 2.0 or whatever O-line has fared. And what do you think going forward, how they'll do? As usual, thanks. I'll hang up and listen.
Appreciate you, LG.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. I enjoy doing that. That's something that I've done, for a long time, and I'm not going to stop now. So if you guys like that, I am going to do it. And because I don't take things at face value, I want to see how it really went. I want to see the context within the numbers, all that. So as far as offensive line goes, man, putting Council at center, that was the move.
Yeah.
That was the move. And I'm not saying that they're spectacular now, because they certainly aren't, but they are better. And they're better on the interior, and they can get movement more on guys. Instead of just lateral movement, they actually get some movement down, on these down linemen. Now, number 99 was killing them.
Yeah.
Jack, what's his name? Jacqueline Roy or something like that?
Yeah, that guy.
He's a beast, Cole.
He is, and he was splitting double teams. He was doing everything, but really everywhere else along the offensive line, they had success. And that's why, late in the fourth quarter, when you look at Auburn's offensive line and they're usually down, they're usually worn out, they were still opening up holes for Tank and got a big one on that last drive. I mean, they were running the football. So, to me, that was the move, and I thought the offensive line was a lot better. Pass protection was not an issue, I didn't think, for the most part. And I think the play calling helped with that a little bit as well. So, yeah, that's my opinion on it from studying it.
I like it. Keep them rolling, Zach.
6848, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Bryce from Beulah checking in.
What's Bryce?
All right, Bryce.
Hey, what's going on, guys? So I had a quick one. I guess this is probably maybe Jhead's lane.
Sure.
So we talked so much going into the athletic director search, right? And we've taught that nauseam. The board's just been filled up with coaching and all that. But, I feel like we got to get the athletic director in place first. So correct me if I'm wrong, John Hartwell out of Utah State seems to be the leader in the clubhouse, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So the only thing that I just wanted kind of your opinion, and I'll let someone else get in here, but with him being a Mobile guy, I know that Hope did a whole spread, like his family ties. He just seems like someone that would definitely be invested in Auburn, something that we need, someone that loves it and cares about it. But so was Jay Jacobs, right? So does this guy, what is your feel? Is he like, are we, basically what I'm saying is this someone that's going to come in and maybe be controlled to an extent by like influential people just because he is so close to it? Or is this a guy that you think really could come in here, maybe galvanize the whole group and really get us going in the right direction? Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, Bryce.
So let's talk about John Hartwell a little bit. Okay. The major difference between him and Jay Jacobs and their potential ascension to be the AD at Auburn. Jay worked at Auburn his entire career. He moved around from the ticket office to fundraising, was a former player there, and then was promoted from within. So you've got to think that his sphere of understanding and everything that he was exposed to was explicitly limited to what Auburn had done in the past. Okay. There wasn't necessarily any outside the box thinking or exposure to different thought processes. John Hartwell is a guy who's a 2-time AD. I know people that know him from his time at Troy. So he was there for 3 years, ran a coaching search, hired Neil Brown, moved on to Utah State, has been there, I think, for 7 seasons now, and hired Blake Anderson, who won the Mountain West Conference Championship last year. So successful in the hiring aspect of being an athletic director, but also the exposure he got in being in the SEC and being an associate AD, the chief associate AD, and the number 2 in the Ole Miss department for about 9 seasons underneath Pete Boone. So exposure to new ideas there. Very good at being able to have conversations in an adult-like manner and aligning people and their thoughts. And that's what I was able to get from the people I spoke to that are familiar with him from his time at Troy, is that getting people on the same page was kind of his specialty. Being able to sit down and be that adult voice in the room and being able to get a passionate group of people all kind of pulling in the same direction and believing that what we were doing or what we were investing in was the correct way to do things. And I think right now at Auburn, what you have are a lot of people that are on islands, right? You've got the administration on an island, you got the coaching staff on an island, you got the boosters on an island. You need somebody that can kind of tie all that together. I think John Hartwell is the kind of guy that can do that and assist President Roberts in being able to make sure that Auburn is more functional and on the same page moving forward.
How about that, Bryce?
Oh, he hung up after he asked the question.
Okay. Hey, I like that, man. We appreciate that call, Bryce. Fantastic answer there, Jhead.
Our first caller calling back in 5810. You're live again. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Good afternoon, fellas. Anthony from Montgomery.
What's up, buddy?
What's going on?
Anthony?
Sorry about the first time. Yeah, my daughter started crying, so I expected to be on hold for a minute. I didn't know it was something.
We've been there, Anthony. We feel you, big dog.
Get that.
Okay, quick question. So, we know, I know you guys say you guys don't want to talk about it, but I just got a question as far as when it's time to make the decision that's going to be made. I want to know, are we all going to be on the same? Is everybody that has some pull going to be on the same page this time? And I know you guys got your thumbprint on the program, and I know y'all hearing names. Do y'all think so far the names that y'all have heard that the fan base will be all right with this time? That's all I have.
That's a fantastic question, Anthony. Jhead, do you think, should there be a head coaching search? Do you think Auburn is at a position now that everybody will be on the same page? You said the gloves are off tonight. Let me ask you something. Zach, can you hear me breathing into this mic?
No.
Okay, cool.
You sound great, man.
Okay, all right.
Sounds pretty good.
All right, Jhead. Should there be a head coaching search? Do you see everybody being on the same page? We really don't think that was the case 2 years ago with Alan Green and Brian Harsin. Do you think that, again, should there be a coaching search, people will be more aligned?
So I think at the outset of any coaching search, everybody has a candidate that they like, right?
Sure.
What will happen, I think, this time is that there will be a search committee that will be chaired by the new athletic director and the president. And they will work to build a consensus amongst all those various people that are going to want to have influence on this hire. That's what didn't necessarily happen last time. It's not wrong to have a difference of opinion. The issue therein lies is when you can't get a consensus amongst the people that matter, the people that are providing the money that you need to generate the things you need for your program to have ultimate success. Things like NIL, things like facilities, things like an increased coaching pool for your assistants. So you want to make sure that everybody has buy-in and they've been vetted and they understand exactly what they're investing that money and their hard work into. So I think that's what's going to happen. So while it may not necessarily be aligned at the moment and that you have people that are like, hey, I like this guy, I like this guy, in the end, yes, I think we will be aligned. I think everybody will be invested in making sure that Auburn is setting itself up for long-term success.
And I think Anthony, his second part, I keep hitting that, was, do you think it will – I did hit it, didn't I, Zach?
No, you're good.
Okay. The second part was, I think it was, will Auburn fans be happy? Anthony, is that right?
Do you think the actual names?
With the names that you guys are hearing so far, do you guys think that it?
Well, let's do this, Anthony. You give me a name, and I'll tell you if I've heard if it's associated. Okay, tell me a name that would make you excited, and then I will let you know if that name is like
now we're talking.
Yeah, Anthony, give me your top 2 to 3.
You really did pull the gloves off tonight, huh?
I did, brother. I did.
So I'm on the message board, and I know some people around. I know. Well, I'm not gonna say that. I know some people that know some people.
Sure.
So, what I think, honestly, I think it's gonna come down to Kiffin, Freeze, and Grimes. Like, no need throwing out those other names like Dion, because we know how Auburn is ran, and we're not gonna give Dion that total power like that. I don't think that will happen. So we're not gonna live in the fantasy, in my opinion.
I think that's fair.
I would say Kiffin.
Okay, so I'll tell you what is floated with regard to Lane Kiffin. Yes, I think we'll kick the tires there. Do I think Lane Kiffin will ultimately end up being the head coach at Auburn should we move on from Coach Harsin and have an actual coaching search? I don't, and I'll tell you why. Okay. Jimmy Sexton is going to ensure that if Lane is going to leave Ole Miss in a situation that he is very secure in, it's going to cost Auburn about $10 million a season. If you part ways with Coach Harsin.
I'm switching who I didn't mean to cut y'all.
No, you're okay. Go ahead.
I think what's going to be the next coach is going to be Hugh Freeze, and I'll tell you why. And I said the same thing. I think Lane would want to come to Auburn, but I think after the money situation gets to the point, I think he's going to price out. I think with everything that's been happening around Freeze, he would be happy to get back to the SEC. He would. I wouldn't fall in line, not like saying be a puppet, but he would take the necessary steps to get the job. And I don't think like it would be a money battle to get him back to the SEC. I think he wants that opportunity. That's why I feel like he's the safe pick. That's who I think would be our next coach.
Anthony, you're making my case for me on that one. But yes, price point will be a factor. When you look at what Hugh Freeze accomplished at Ole Miss with 2 New Year's Six-Day Bowl games, a 10-win season, which is one of only 3 that they've ever had in their entire history as a football program. The other one belongs to the current head coach in Lane Kiffin.
Correct.
The trade-off there for $5 million a season, which is about the price point differential, because if Lane's going to command 10, you can probably get Hugh for about 5. And if he meshes with your PTB a little bit better, those powers that be, then it probably is best for Auburn. But I will say this with regard to Hugh Freeze. He's going to have to be very transparent with everybody in the room with regard to what happened at Ole Miss. And everything's going to have to flush out. Everything's going to have to check out for him to necessarily be the head coach. And I don't want to necessarily talk about all of that, but we all know that there were some missteps there. They're going to have to be atoned for. And if everybody can be okay with that, yes, I can definitely see Hugh Freeze being the next head coach at Auburn. If that doesn't check out,
I think Hugh is the floor and Lane is the ceiling, because I feel like Hugh is in their back pocket. If they strike out and everything else, we would get Hugh. But Hugh's still a good coach. I don't know with that Gus. I feel like, it's like kind of, but he's a new model Gus, what I would say. I would say that for all three of the guys that I just named, the defensive coordinator hire is going to be crucial.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think the staff hires in general for whoever your next head coach is, should we part ways with Coach Harsin, is going to be very critical, because it's all going to be about. And look, let's talk about what we talk about on this show: recruiting. Do we hire a staff this time that has dynamic recruiting relationships in this regional footprint with the prospects that we're trying to accrue? And do they have a plan for the transfer portal? Because we all know right now that if you transition staffs, that you're probably not going to get the necessary amount of high school players in this class that you're going to need to, make sure that you hit all of your needs for everything that you're going to lose in this upcoming season. So making sure that you hit home runs in the transfer portal is going to be crucial, and you're going to need a staff that's going to need to understand how to do that and how to do that quickly. So who you put on this assistant coaching hire, yes, you're going to need a big-time defensive coordinator if you're going to hire an offensive head coach. But the entire staff is going to be important, not just one or two guys. That's for sure.
Hey, good stuff there, Anthony. We appreciate your call, man. I just noticed something, Zach. Zach's got on a new digs tonight. Look at that shirt.
Does, doesn't he? Look at him.
Yeah.
We got that Auburn Live shirt on. I like it, Zach.
Hey, all right.
Hey, Cole's gonna steal it in my house, man, but I got it on.
There you go. Compliments of Miss Jessica Andrus with EXP Realty. Looking for a home in or around Auburn, Opelika area, Lee County? Give Miss Jessica Andrus a call at 334-704-4442. I didn't even have to look at the screen to know her number. She can do it all, folks. Residential investment property. Big how about you to Mr. Rex Watson. Jumped on the Jessica Andrus train. Big how about you to him. Give her a call, 334-704-4442. She can do it all, folks. 5-star realtor there. Zach, you got us another one?
Another caller here.
Hey, good stuff, Anthony. I appreciate you, man.
9704. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Good evening, gentlemen. This is Against the Spread, calling from Atlanta.
ATS.
All right.
How you guys doing this evening?
Fantastic, man.
Awesome. All right, I wanted to do a quick little role play, and I can't see your faces, but I'm sure Jay Lee's put up for that.
Why would you think I'd be into role playing? Eh?
Reputation, my friend.
Yeah, well, go ahead, Daddy.
Jhead, let's say that you are Hugh Freeze's agent.
Yep, I'm Jimmy Sexton. Go
He
ahead.
comes to you and says, "Tell me why I should take the Auburn job." What's your answer?
Tell me why I should take the Auburn job. All right, easy answer.
Is this for Hugh Freeze?
For Hugh Freeze,
Okay.
why should Hugh take this job? First of all, Hugh wants back into the show, okay? He feels like he's paid his dues. He's ready to be back in the SEC where he feels like he belongs. Auburn right now has a brand new $100 million facility that's being put up. You've got a collective that has not only raised $10 million, we're in $10 million excess plus now. So you know you're going to have money there with regard to NIL. You're in a fertile recruiting ground where that you are extremely familiar with, and you know that you can go in there and pluck that talent that you're going to need to flip this program around. And last but not least, how many other Power 5 programs are taking a shot on you right now? So if Auburn offers, you better take it, my man.
So that last point is an interesting one for that. But also, give me the flip side of that. Why should I avoid taking this job?
If I'm Hugh Freeze, why should I avoid it?
Shit.
I'm going to be honest with you. There's not a lot of downside for Hugh on this one, if I'm being completely honest. And I'm not saying that as an Auburn homer. Auburn is traditionally a top 15 program, all right? Hugh has never been in a program of this magnitude or that has this level of pedigree. Now, yes, we have some boosters that obviously, have made an issue from time to time. But somebody that's been in an SEC school before understands the power structure and how that works, and is probably politically savvy enough to kind of navigate around and understand what you need to do to get everybody on the same page and to make that thing work. So, yes.
Jhead, I'm going to
go ahead.
Politically savvy is a good term there. That's all I'll say.
Yep. While people look, football is not rocket surgery, okay? But
is it not rocket surgery?
It's not rocket surgery, but understanding how to navigate
as opposed to rocket science.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's a good one now.
Is understanding how to navigate the landscape is a skill. He was a veteran at that. I think that he more than likely understands what he needs to do to be able to work the scenes at Auburn. So it's really a win-win for him. He gets a shot at the big-time program, passionate fan base, everything he's ever wanted. Now, he may have to sacrifice some salary on the front end for us to take a chance. But other than that, that's the only downside.
How about that ATS?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I think the kind of follow-up question, last time during our search, we had a lot of names that kind of popped early on that everyone was hearing about. Billy Napier, for example. And then those kind of fell apart pretty quick.
Yep.
So just wondering if we get into that scenario where these initial names that we're hearing right now, don't come to fruition. What are some of the names that you guys think like further down the line, like is it like a Kane Womack type? Would we get into that range, or where do you think we would turn after this kind of first wave of folks?
I think Jeffrey can probably speak to coaching searches in general. That look, there are always names that pop up. There are red herrings. So let's talk about the 2012 Auburn football coaching search where Gus Malzahn eventually ended up being the guy. All right. You had everybody wanted Bobby Petrino, right? Like everything you saw was Petrino this and Petrino that with regard to what was on message boards. Bobby got about a 10-minute interview and they said, we'll give you a call if we're interested. The entire time, the whole focus was on Gus Malzahn and Kirby Smart. And there were other red herrings like Jimbo Fisher and/or Jeff Fisher. You know what I mean? There are always going to be those targets that are put out there that aren't necessarily real, where you have agents that are leveraging new deals with either their current team or another team that they're working behind the scenes. Don't forget that agents only get 3 to 4% of a contract. So if they can work out an extension with a nice pay raise, that's a new Christmas for them. Okay?
Yeah, so a lot of dudes get rich off an Auburn coaching search.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Look, names will be floated. What I will tell you is right now, what Justin Hokanson probably reports first are going to be the names that you're going to want to concentrate on. And should you see some slippage there, I guarantee you that this site will have it covered as far as who those new names will be and who you need to focus on. And right now, it's probably too hard to say. But when the opening happens, I guarantee you there's going to be a hot board released, and more than likely, whoever your head coach is going to be on that hot board. It may not be who's number one, but it'll be on that board somewhere.
I'm ready, man. I'm pumped. I'm ready for the change.
Hey, appreciate you, ATS.
All right, fellas. Thank you.
You got it, man. Here's the one thing I'll say about this whole topic. I don't want to play the hypothetical, but I'm not an idiot, man. I don't expect Brian Harsin to be the head coach of Auburn next year at this time. I don't. I don't think Brian Harsin expects to be the head coach at Auburn this time next year. So I understand all the talk. I understand the hypotheticals, and I would imagine that Brian Harsin would rather, if something's going to happen, he'd rather go ahead and get this done too. So that's kind of where I am. Just kind of in a holding pattern, man. I to be honest with you, I don't feel for Brian Harsin. That dude's got enough money now and will for the rest of his life. I feel for the assistants. I feel for the staffers, man.
Yes.
I feel for those 1-year contract guys. I feel for those first-year assistant coaches like Rock Bellantoni and Christian Robinson and Ike Hilliard and those guys who love it at Auburn. And that's who I feel for. I don't feel for Brian Harsin.
Yeah, so Jeffrey, being on this side of things, man, you have a different perspective about it all. I mean, It has changed my perspective wholesale. as far as how I look at a coach firing, than what a fan may look at it as, because you just don't. I mean, you just get to know the guys, and you know that they're good folks, and
they're people, man. They're people with families.
I mean, you're talking about losing a job here. It's not just about the football program. Sometimes you remember these people have families and losing jobs. Keep that in mind, man. I mean, that's something that doesn't sit well with me now, because I know the people, and it sucks. I just hope they land back on their feet if that were to happen, or get kept, or whatever the case may be. It's a tough business, and they know that coming in. So it just kind of, you look at it totally different when you've been on this side, for sure.
Well, and take this viewpoint, Cole. You guys are both dads. You understand what it's like to be in flux with a new job. And am I going to get this job? Am I not? How am I going to be able to pay bills? Everything, the anxiety that goes into that.
Sure,
and coaching is a nomadic lifestyle anyway, but when your family's involved and that Auburn is a destination type job, right? Like, you work extremely hard to get in a position to coach at a place like Auburn. For a lot of guys, this is an end job.
When's the last time a coach left Auburn?
Right.
For another job.
From a head coaching standpoint, never.
Not that I know of.
And there are a lot of assistants like Joe Witt Jr. and a handful of others that just loved Auburn, would not leave Auburn for anything. So when you have this kind of stuff happen, you hate it for them as men. You hate it for their families. It's gut-wrenching for those guys.
Yeah.
All right, Zach, keep us rolling, big dog. Good stuff, ATS. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
3365, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what up, yo? Bo.
What's up, Bo?
What's going on, fellas?
Yep.
You calling from Moody or Birmingham?
From Moody.
Moody, buddy.
Hey, I hear you.
What you sipping on tonight, Bo?
Monster, man.
A monster?
Yeah,
Bro, Bo ain't sleeping tonight.
Bo for Moody?
Yeah, everybody's talking about Parson, man. I mean, give him a chance, man.
Give him a chance. All right, Bo. To do what?
Turn this thing around. Because wasn't he the third winningest coach in football for now?
I don't think so.
I think he's talking about his overall record as head coach. He had a good record. I don't know if he was third or not, but he had a good record coming in as a head coach.
Yeah, he was third behind Saban and Dabo coming in.
There you go.
Bo, I'm gonna keep it real with you for a second, man. And I'm saying this because I don't think anybody that knows Brian Harsin will disagree with me. It's a bad fit. It's a bad fit, man. It's culturally, socially, competitively, professionally. It's not a good fit. And listen, I respect the hell out of that guy, and so do his players. And we saw that Saturday night. But I just don't think it. I just don't think. I don't see it happening, man. I don't think he has the support. I think there are a lot of factors going into why he won't be successful at Auburn. He never will be successful at Auburn. Only because I don't think he has the support.
Right.
I don't think he has the support, and I think he knows that. You're fighting within yourselves to try to be successful, and that's never going to work.
No, and I think he's a damn good football coach.
I do too.
Anybody on this show would disagree that he's not a good football coach, but fit is everything. And I think Cole can probably talk to that fit is everything when it comes to, how you do in recruiting, to how you do with your boosters, to, the success of your overall program, how you fit your fan base. That's a huge deal.
Well, Jhead, real quick, I'll go back to the moment where it felt like probably most of the fan base go, I'm a little uncomfortable now.
Yeah.
Was when I pointed it out before, but second signing day, didn't sign anybody.
Yeah.
That's where it began, and everybody goes, well, there's a lot of spots here that have to be filled, or that roster in 2023, with you as the head coach, it's going to be bare at these positions. That's where it all started, and that's what I think is in the back of everybody's mind. Maybe he's making adjustments on the field. Maybe Robbie Ashford looked better last week. Maybe all these things are happening. But what about the roster?
Yeah.
Hey, real quick breaking news from Auburn Live's Justin Hokinson. Auburn wide receiver / tight end Landon King
Red shirt.
is going to redshirt. Okay, I didn't know if that was that earlier news?
Yeah,
Well,
someone put it in the comments earlier. That
Okay.
Yeah.
My apologies, Bo. Hey, Bo. So, and let me say this: I'm when it comes to football coach, I'm a Harsin fan. Whatever happens to him, I'll be pulling for him, man. I like him. I think he's a good man. I think he was done wrong. I'm not saying it wasn't warranted. I'm not saying that the lax. I feel like for February, if they didn't want him around, they should have fired him.
Yeah.
They should have fired him and paid him his money and said, "You're not a good fit. We're done. Thanks for coming by." They didn't. They tried to cut his legs out from under him, smear him. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm with Cole here. You can't have that February non-signing. You can't whiff on the transfer portal. I'm not saying it was somewhat warranted if they would have fired him.
Yeah.
Fire him. That's fine. I understand. I got you there, right? I understand. You can't have the recruiting class he did, the February signing class that he did, and not expect some repercussions. So I understand that. Just don't do that to him and his family. I think that's where it's probably where he won some people over that don't appreciate that kind of shit. But
Absolutely.
so I'm going to be pulling for him wherever he is, whether it be Auburn or wherever, Colorado, wherever. I hope he does well, man. I'm a Harsin fan.
Agreed.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna keep this moving. We got 4 callers on the line.
All right, let's do it.
Coming. 9494. Appreciate you waiting. I know you've been waiting a while. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Scott from Virginia.
Scott, what's up, Scott?
Hey, I've been following Jeffrey for about 15 years, man.
Uh-oh.
Hey.
But I appreciate y'all letting me talk. I'm confused, man. Real confused. You freeze. We're gonna go to the damage aisle.
This is my man right here. Hey, Scott, you and I are on this side. Jhead's on the other. I'm not a big Hugh Freeze fan.
Jhead's not advocating for anybody. Jhead's probably what Jhead's doing is just repeating what has been indicated towards me of a direction we could go, Scott. I'm not saying that's the direction we are going. That's the direction we could go.
I think y'all do a great job. Great job. But here's my confusion. Missouri's paying $5 million a year for a coach, and they started paying him $5 million 3 years ago. Why are we having the attitude that we can't afford a real coach? And if we've got to overpay for him, overpay. Why don't we want somebody from Tiffany's instead of Walmart? That's my question.
Yes. I'm with you there, Scott. The only thing I would like to add to a potential coaching search is I think Auburn will shoot for the stars. I think Auburn's had enough. I think Auburn's ready to hire a program changer. And if it costs 10 to get him, I think they're willing to do it.
And I think that's the right attitude. And I just feel like I watch these shows and everybody's like, let's go with the discount and, let's give a guy a shot. I mean, give me a coach that has come back from issues like Hugh Freeze. I mean, the Mississippi State coach that coached at Texas A&M, he had one good season.
Jackie Sherrill?
Jackie Sherrill, but he left the program in a disaster. And I mean, I appreciate the truth. I know you can't 4 or 5 weeks ago say it's over for Harsin, but it's been over. It's over. And it's nothing negative about him. I like how you say you care about the families and, the people on staff, because they're the ones that are really going to get hurt. But he never was a fit at Auburn. Never. And the athletic director is an important hire. And the last guy we hired from Ole Miss was a disaster. Now we're going to go hire another guy that worked under one of the worst athletic directors for Ole Miss?
No.
I'm just confused. Just give me your view and I'll stop talking. But confused.
So Alan Green worked underneath Ross Bjork, who's now at Texas A&M. John Hartwell cut his teeth under Pete Boone, the predecessor there.
Yeah, there was.
Boone was one of the worst athletic directors. If you ask Ole Miss people, they will tell you he was horrible. He didn't pay people. He didn't keep people. He treated people horrible. And this is the guy you mentor under. And Ross Bjork has been a disaster at Texas A&M. Paying Jimbo the Clown a new 10-year contract after he did nothing.
Jhead will agree with you on that.
Yeah, 100%.
If they want to win, you're going to have to pay for a coach, and you're going to have to get one of the best athletic directors. And you better get that athletic director in here soon.
So let me ask you a question. Do you know that they rank athletic directors and where John Hartwell ranks as far as an athletic director is concerned?
I'm not, you're totally right, but let's look at where they rank coaches. They rank Jimbo Fisher as one of the top 3 or 4 coaches. What kind of job is he done?
I think.
Let me pick up my mic so I can drop it for Scott.
I think the point I'm trying to make is that John Hartwell is not a bad athletic director. And I would say that just because he may have had a boss that was not necessarily highly thought of, that's not necessarily reflective of what his production could be. I think we've all had people that we've worked for that aren't necessarily the best people in the world. Would you disagree with me on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that. I work for Jeff right now, so yes.
There's Keith Niebuhr jumping in here.
Hey,
I don't want to interrupt.
so
Let me just say this. You're 100% right, but he's not the athletic director we need. We need one of the best. If he was one of the best, he would have gotten one of these jobs 15 years ago. We need somebody that's innovative, that's going to be able to work with the boosters, raise the money, NIL, and talk a coach into taking this job when I'm listening to most people, not just you guys, but everybody associated with Auburn. It's going to be difficult after what happened with Harsin. It's going to be difficult.
do you know who he testified in front of with regard to NIL and his innovation and thoughts on it?
No, I don't.
Yeah, he testified in front of Congress to help pass a new bill as far as NIL regulation was concerned from a federal standpoint. I think that you have probably gotten a feel for John Hartwell that's not necessarily indicative of who he is. I understand your hesitation and your reservations as far as that goes. But as someone that's familiar with people that know him from his time at Troy, I think you're talking about a person, and I understand that your fear is probably more about the coach and less about the athletic director.
I agree.
I think that you may be surprised with what he is capable of doing. Okay.
All right. Well, we're gonna see. But if he was as innovative and as talented as he was, why hadn't he gotten a job in 15 years? Ross Bjork was a complete disaster at Ole Miss, and he's gotten a job. And this guy's going to take 20 years to get back to it. I'm not being anti. I want the best for Auburn. And until we decide that we want to look in a mirror and be honest with ourselves and our fans, which are the best in the world, we proved that this last weekend. And your show, Jeffrey Lee, it's the best. It's the best. I'm not just saying it because I'm on here. It's the best. But if we don't look in the mirror and say we're going to get the best, and we just say, well, Hartwell was in front of Congress and
damn, Jhead.
the $5 million. We're never going anywhere.
The gloves are coming off tonight, Jhead. I hear you, Scott. Let him have it.
Can
All right.
I interject one thing?
Absolutely.
I think
Go ahead.
coaches
And I got a retort.
Coaches want to. I hope I don't. This will be quick. Coaches, they want to work with a competent, person as an AD, a competent, supportive, bright, innovative. They want that. But a head football coach also wants an AD that ain't more powerful than he is. And so, it's great to go get a big name guy as an AD, a super accomplished guy, but sometimes that leads to inflated egos too. You know what I mean? A great success as an AD or whatnot. Some of the best ADs work their ways up through the system out of given school. They started as a ticket taker and worked their way up and cut their teeth that way too. So it's hard to predict, just like it is with the head football coach. It's really hard to predict great success. If it was like all these guys that are Power 5 head coaches, almost all of them were ultra successful, either as a high profile coordinator or as a coach at a smaller school where they had great success, and not all of them make it. And so it's hard to predict great success with either one, obviously. So you just do it. Who fits your culture, who wants to move in the same direction as the people who run things, and who also has the same persona and fits the image of the fan. Who sees the world like the Auburn fan does. That's who I'd be going after.
I'm gonna jump in here real quick. We got a bunch of callers, so now callers, you get a question and a follow-up, and then we're going to keep it moving because we're losing callers here because we were up to 9 at one point.
Hey, good stuff, Scott. Appreciate you, big dog.
And by the way, we had some breaking news tonight.
We just broke it.
Perfect. Okay. I was writing it for Justin.
All right. What we got, Zach?
2891. You're live. Where are you calling from? Who we talking to?
Calling from Birmingham. And Roderick Mason.
Roderick?
Yes, sir.
What's up, Roger? What's on your mind tonight, big dog?
Guys, I don't see what else can be done. I really don't. Yeah. You can't make second half adjustments. Coaching is not there. I like what Harsin stands for. I really do. He's not it. I think he can coach, but he can't coach at this level. It's being proven. You can't coach in the SEC and go up 17-0 and not score no second half points. You can't go up 14-0 and score no second half points. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, Roger, I hear you, man. That's the biggest thing that sticks out to me when it comes to coaching over the past year and a half, season and a half, is the lack of adjustments. I guess lack of adjustments. Cole, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, I saw a few adjustments, but nothing,
Jhead didn't get his retort in. He's pissed. Look at him. He's steaming. He is fuming.
I'm all right.
He is fuming. I've never seen Jhead.
He got me a little riled up over here, man.
I mean, guys,
all right, Roger. That was not pertaining to you, man. That was Scott from Virginia. He got Jhead. Look at him. He's flustered, boy. I tell you what, Roger. I absolutely understand your gripe here. I have seen the numbers, and it is astonishing the number of leads Auburn has lost in the past year and a half of Harsin's first 13 plus 4 or 5, 18 games at Auburn. It's astonishing the lack of second half points and the number of leads, double-digit leads he's blown, or his teams did. So I completely understand your gripe there. I think everybody does.
I think it's finally happened after Georgia or after Ole Miss bye week. He's not going to be that long. I don't see it.
I don't think that's I don't think that's crazy of a hot take. I think that's if it's going to happen this year during the season, I think that would probably be the most likely time to do it. Hey, Roger, we appreciate your call, big dog. Appreciate your call. Did he hang up?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Roger. Appreciate you, big dog.
6687. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Yes, hey, this is Nicholas. You guys know me as Quattro on the board.
What's up, Quattro?
Quattro.
Sometimes.
You know, that's for a Kia engine, you know, not the number 4.
Oh. Oh well.
Volvo.
There you go.
Yeah. Audi. I'm a big Audi.
Yeah, that's what I said. What's up, Quattro?
But, all right, man. First, to say appreciate the work you guys do. Love the site. All the personalities, all the input and everything. Everybody done a great job. I followed Jaylee and Keith up. We were about you guys. It's great to hear from Cole and Jhead as well. You guys give some awesome takes. Appreciate Zach in the back.
Taking the back. All right.
Like it. That's catch and win, man.
But what I did want to ask, I guess, kind of you guys' thoughts on Chris Roberts, because I know there's a lot of trepidation with the fan base as far as with obviously there'll be a coaching search at some point in time, but to me I kind of look at it as we have the opportunity to kind of chase that elusive alignment that a lot of other coaches have been ones like Brent Venables, who kind of alluded to when he got the Oklahoma job. But to me, it's like I think we have an opportunity here with, from the positive things I've heard about Chris Roberts, the way he kind of handles the boosters and everything like that. But then to have him, the boosters, athletics director, and then to get a coach, everybody on the same page. We know what Auburn looks like when everybody's on the same page. So just wanted to hear everything you guys have heard about Chris Roberts, and then what do you think about the chances of us having that elusive alignment that we desperately need at Auburn?
Yeah, that's good stuff, Quattro. We appreciate you. Jhead, I've never met Chris Roberts. Don't know how to judge a president, so you got 60 seconds to make a case for him to Quattro.
50 seconds. Okay. Let's start with what his background is. It's engineering. Okay. A bachelor's degree from Missouri, doctorate and master's degrees from Notre Dame. Very intelligent guy. Somebody that's been a professor and dean at Auburn for over, I think, 15 years now, so has a very good lay of the land, very methodical with how he goes about things, deep thinker, and someone that's not going to be probably pushed into a knee-jerk reaction. You want somebody that is going to go into any kind of situation with a level head and ensure that they're able to stand their ground and make sure they're making sound decisions. I think that's what you have in Dr. Roberts. I'm hoping that that his athletic director selection is going to be an extension of him, and that will allow for Auburn to kind of align itself to a degree. Now, we don't know exactly what's going to happen just yet, but that's the gut feel that I have as of today.
Perfect opportunity for Auburn to get all leadership. I mean, you've got a new president. You're going to have a new AD. If there is going to be a new coach, you've got a perfect opportunity to get everybody on the same page with everything falling into place right now. So certainly a great opportunity for Auburn. Good stuff, Quattro. Appreciate you and your Volvo Quattro. Is it Volvo?
Audi? I think
I told you it was Audi, Cole. God damn it.
I think Kia Sorrento, man. I don't know what's going over there.
All right, Zach, keep on flowing.
1447. You're live. Where you calling from? Who we talking to?
This is Ranger 361.
My man.
What's up, Ranger?
Ranger.
Hey, tell me who the 7 offensive linemen are going to be that Auburn's going to sign this year.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Really, that's a softball question right there, Ranger. I mean, you got anything more difficult?
Yeah, don't hold back, man.
Here's the thing, Ranger. It's a great question because it opened up the conversation that Keith and I can probably both attest to here, is that this recruiting class right now is what I would say is there's so many uncertainties right now. You don't know what's going to happen. And I think I said it last week, and I'll say it again. Like, I hope by the end of this month, by November 1st rolls around, we know exactly what's going to be happening in December, so we can kind of get back to asking questions. Because all the stuff that we're covering right now, if Harson's not retained, which we all think he won't be, this is all for naught. Reuben Bain, the most important thing, in my opinion, was Auburn selling Auburn Saturday night. All those kids saw that atmosphere. They saw, and I think I said it a couple of weeks ago, the on-field product sells the coaching staff, while the environment, the atmosphere. And I think Auburn has done a fantastic job of first getting kids on campus. Say what Jhead? Did I say something crazy?
No, your mic.
What'd I say?
bugged
you
out.
sound like
You sound like Porky
Million miles
Pig.
an hour. And
Yes, Keith.
everything you
For
said,
real?
you're good now.
Okay. Damn it.
So hang on, I was just playing my grand piano here.
Oh, hey.
No, we don't know. For obviously Auburn's got 2 offensive linemen committed right now, but here's the problem: if there's a change made, there's 2 issues here. One, are these guys going to want to stick with Auburn? They'll have to meet the new guy and all that stuff. And then 2, is the new guy going to want them? I mean, it really works both ways. There's
Absolutely.
There's a chance if you have a coaching change that there may be 0 offensive linemen in the class come December 10th, let's say, and they may really be scrambling. So we'll have to see there. I love Janoris Wilson. Jeffrey does. Jhead does. Cole does. Zach, you probably like him too. But a new staff, we don't know how they're going to feel about this guy if it gets to that point. And we also know that Janoris Wilson was not offered by a ton of Power 5 programs. Now, why is that? 6'4", 280. His profile says 6'5", 315, but he's 6'4", 280. So he's got a tweener body. And so I think people are probably trying to figure out what's he going to play. So that's just one example right there. A new staff may say, hey, good player, not what I'm looking for as a head coach.
Yep.
Right.
Drew Fabianich, head of Auburn scouting right now, he may love Janoris Wilson. If again, there's a lot of ifs here. If there's a new coaching staff, is Drew Fabianich still part of that staff? And if so, how much say does he have? Does he? Hey, I love this guy, but the new coach may. So there's so many unknown variables. But what we do know is, I think Jeffrey and same Jhead, Cole, Zach, you guys correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think no matter who the head coach is, one thing's probably not going to change. They're going to have to sign 4 or 5 high school guys.
Yeah, the roster's not getting any better.
A couple junior college guys and 2 or 3 or maybe more portal guys.
As many as you can.
And then also if you have a coaching change, there could be further attrition. Now, sometimes it works both ways. A guy that was looking to leave may say, well, wait a second, this is my opportunity to stay now. So there's some of that too, but there's so many unknown variables right now.
Have we had 7 high school prospects that are linemen on campus?
Oh, yeah. We don't think they would take 7 high school guys. And here's the reason why. You could take, hey, in a perfect world, yes, you'd sign 7 and 2 or 3 JUCOs and 2 or 3 transfers. But remember, Auburn has needs on the defensive line. Auburn has needs at receiver. Auburn has needs at linebacker, big needs at
edge.
Big needs at edge, big needs on the defensive line. So there's only so many spots to go around here. And then also, if you sign 7 high school guys, how many of those guys, how many true freshmen do you want starting? Not many. So what you'd want is 4 or 5. Maybe 1 is good enough to start, you hope. But then you can really work those guys, develop them, and not have to rush them in over the next years. And that's where returning guys come into play, like Jeremiah Wright, maybe Keandre Jones. And then also a junior college guy or 2 that could come in and play early. And then portal guys. That gives you time to truly develop the high school guys. It'd be, I don't know if they could sign 7 guys, to be honest with you. 7 high school guys.
That roster management piece, and I think Cole's hit this from day one. We're in such a mess right now from the previous regime where they jammed 1 class for 6 or 7 guys, and it eats up your roster space.
Now you're top heavy.
Yeah, you're extremely top heavy, and you've limited yourself on what you can do in future signing classes unless you have a series of transfers come out. And right now you do have, and I want Jeffrey and Cole's take on this, you've got a little bit more of an opportunity right now because they've taken off the limit of what you can sign per class. You just can't exceed your 85. So I think that does help a team like Auburn. But how much does it help you? You know what I mean? If you overload in 1 class, you can definitely limit yourself moving forward.
Yeah, well, I'm with you. I think the origin of all this is the roster management.
Yeah,
that's what everybody seems to be worried about. Even if you can see adjustments on the field, you go, gosh, that roster, how are you going to get it back? And I think the question in everybody's mind is it more detrimental to go ahead and cut the cord and start, fresh slate, or is it more detrimental to keep doing what we're doing and not seeing too many results as far as the roster getting better in these areas? So that's kind of the question that's being asked right now, I would say.
Hey, Ranger, holler back in November.
There you go.
Holler back in November. You're my boy, Ranger. Appreciate you, big dog. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate your call.
63.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, 6307. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name's Darius Fuller from Goodwater, Alabama.
Goodwater.
Sedarius.
Not far from, yes, Darius.
Sedarius, okay.
Is that Coosa County?
My
Coosa
question
County.
was, where's the powers to be not on the same page with the new hire? Do you think we'll be in the same position in the next 2 years? I mean, because I know we got to get transfer portal guys with transfer offensive linemen to help the offense out, period. And
I think this kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier, man. This is a perfect opportunity for Auburn to get aligned, right? I mean, for everybody to get on the same page here, from the president to the athletic director to the head coach, should that opportunity present itself. And we're not idiots. As I said earlier in the show, I don't expect Harsin to be here next year. If that's the case, then this is a perfect opportunity for the president to get his athletic director and the athletic director to get his head coach. Get everybody on the same page. And I think it was Quattro maybe who said, Auburn's hell when everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think now with the NIL money available,
yep,
I think we should be able to.
That's the fourth head right there.
And help with this.
Absolutely.
Quicker, because I don't think we'll wait 2 or 3 years for a new coach to bring in high school guys and wait for them to develop.
No.
Mm-mm. Well, I think you look at the basketball program, you look at what Bruce has done, and then you look at Saturday night versus LSU. Everything, fans are in a bad mood. They're worried, and they still pack the house. They still bring it. Recruits are still just blown away by the atmosphere. And so any coach that comes in and doesn't awake the sleeping giant that Auburn could be is not going to be right in the fans' eyes. Bottom line.
I agree. And especially with our 2 biggest rivals having success, we got to bring it pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the great thing about having a new coach and all this is the transfer portal is fantastic for Auburn right now. I mean, if should that opportunity arise. You're talking about immediate help, JUCO immediate help. You're losing everybody on the offensive line. You're losing a lot of people. I don't know that that's you're losing a lot of top end talent. You're losing a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Not losing a lot of NFL talent. Let's put it that way. Hey, Mr. Fuller, we appreciate your call, man.
All right, Doc. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
3365. You're live. Where are you calling from? Who are we talking to?
Hey, man, it's Bo again, man.
All right, Bo.
Bo's still away.
Hey, I was going to ask you a question. The offense. Do you think we ought to go back to the spread?
It is the spread for the most part. I mean, there's elements of kind of everything. It's a multiple offense, but they were in I did a breakdown of the game. They were in the shotgun probably 75 to 80% and spread it out with the receivers. So they
probably best with Robbie under center, don't you think? Spread that out.
They definitely made that change.
Yeah.
Robbie is the quarterback. We're going to go spread more.
And Cole, we've hit that for the last 2 weeks. That was what was needed. They needed to tweak that, and they did. You didn't see a lot of the double tight sets that you've seen the prior 2 weeks.
Right.
They've kind of jammed everybody into the box.
Yep.
So what happened to Landon King, man?
I think you're just seeing a young guy in today's game that wants to make sure that he's preservation eligibility as best he can, especially since he's making a transition to a new position and he's not necessarily getting the playing time that he thought he would at this point. So I think he's just probably doing what he thinks is in his best interest to make sure that whatever direction this goes, whether it's a new coaching staff or he moves back to tight end or whatever, that he can maximize his time and ensure that he's going to be utilized in a way that's going to get him to the next level.
Yeah, these young guys, they don't have the COVID year. These older guys, had a throwaway year. These young guys don't. We're back to normal football with the sophomore class, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't applaud it, but I don't blame him at all either.
No.
Yeah. All right. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all keep up what y'all doing.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you, Bo. Stay moody, big dog.
All right, God bless. Oh yeah, Moody leads next week, man. Y'all need to come
Ooh.
out here and check this out.
KVR,
Moody,
baby.
Might do it, man. Might do it.
Undefeated, both of them.
Yep.
That'll be interesting.
Lane. It's two big 2024 guys.
I need to come see Amon, and I need to see Kavion. That that's an interesting
Look at you,
matchup
Cole.
there.
Okay. Stay moody, Bo.
1641. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Oh, I hear him.
641.
1641.
Hello?
Hey, what's up, big dog? Oh, yeah, man, that's all you.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
live.
Talking about
off and
Harsh
just talk to the
getting
phone.
fired. I mean, we all knew coming in, he had a tremendous thing program that he had to oversee. Here's what-
Zach.
And then
Zach.
it was like Auburn,
Yeah.
not-
Hey, man.
We got
Hey, man.
We got you muted. You got to turn down your background, man. We cannot hear what you're saying. Just turn your background off and talk directly on the phone like a normal phone call. I'm on now, and we just got to get the background turned down.
That delay just 2 blocks you.
Oh, me. Oh, God. Here's Keith in the bed. Look at him. I mean, bound chicka wow wow.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, looking like Hugh Freeze from his hospital bed.
All right, 1641.
Muted. You're muted, Keith.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, we can hear you good now.
Okay, I'm just seeing and trying to talk to y'all.
No, you're good.
I'm Roger from Birmingham. And
What's up, Roger?
mad that much. I just don't feel like Carson's got the support that he needs, even from the fans. The fans they'll turn on him in a heartbeat. And as far as me, I don't want Lane Kiffin to come. Heck, they haven't been able to beat us at Ole Miss. And Hugh Freeze is just another extension of Gus Malzahn. If I was in charge of it, I would go out and get Josh Heupel or Joe Grady or something. But I would really want Harsin to stay. That's just, I guess, y'all's thoughts on that.
Okay. I said it earlier, man. I hate it for Brian Harsin. I just don't think he's a great fit. I don't think Brian Harsin thinks he's a great fit. I think he wants to compete and show everybody he can win at this level. I really do. I think he's a competitor, man. I be honest with you, and we'll talk about this later this week on the Friday show. But I loved him going for it, bro, the other night. I loved it. I loved the calls. I loved going for it. He was trying to win that football game. But Roger, I hear you, big dog. It's just a bad fit. I said it earlier, it's just a bad fit, man. I hate it for him. It's not his fault. I blame Alan Green for putting him in, for selling this job to him. I really do. I don't blame Harsin. I blame Alan Green for that. Did that cover?
Harsin was gone as soon as Alan Green is gone.
Yeah, I think the writing was on the wall exactly when that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to win, and let's be honest, man. As bad as Auburn has looked, they're a turnover or two from being 4-1 right now.
Yeah.
They're a muffed punt away from being 4-1 right now.
They're also a chip shot field goal away from being 2-3.
Mm.
And the guy that missed that chip shot field goal made 2 50-yarders against Georgia. So it's just a crazy game.
The
Crazy.
sixth
What do
kicker.
you think about Josh Heupel?
Who? Josh Apple?
Didn't say
Heupel.
Yeah, whatever. What do y'all think about him?
He'll be at Tennessee for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. Doing a good job over there.
Yeah.
Good hire. Good hire.
And
Y'all do like Hugh Freeze or Lane Kiffin?
I'm not an advocate for either.
no, I think both guys will probably be spoken to at some point. I'm not exactly sure if there's a favorite as of right now. I mean, the job hasn't officially come open. A lot of what you're hearing is chatter from people that are interested in certain candidates, and some of that chatter is more vocal than others. You know what I mean? And that's coming from various people within the program, or not the program, but various boosters or whoever, and that's kind of trickling out some. You'll see who we're actually interested in once the job officially opens, and then there's an actual search being conducted.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for taking my call. And War Eagle, you need to get a coach in there that's going to win 10 games every season, no matter what.
It would be the first in Auburn history if he won back-to-back 10-win seasons. And most interesting note of Auburn football, to be a top 15 historically top 15 program, never had back-to-back 10-win seasons.
Didn't Dye do it with those two championship teams in 88 and 87 or 89? I think he went back-to-back SEC championship 10-win seasons, and that's the last person to do it.
Wow, really?
I think so.
I think so. It was like in the late 80s.
I think 88 and 89.
Yeah.
All right. Was that Roger?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now he's on a mountain.
The thing, sorry, a little cold front came through.
Hey man, how much for an eighth?
I'm down here freezing my ass off. It's 83 degrees. Okay. I think one of the things that I loved about Pat Dye really, from afar. Now you guys were part of the Auburn, fandom back then, but he took on the identity, of the fan. He was a fan. And so who are the guys in the SEC that have really taken on the identity? God, it is cold in here. Wow. The guys that have really taken on the identity of the programs they cover, or the programs they worked at. Pat Dye, Kirby Smart, big chip on the shoulder. We're going to do this thing that hadn't been done at Georgia in years. Steve Spurrier. These are guys that took on the identity of the school, of the fan bases at the schools they went to. Okay.
Oh.
And that's what I'd like to see out of Auburn's next coach. Provided, who does – I don't know what the future holds. We don't think – I don't know who B –
Looking like Eminem, Keith, is what they're saying.
What's that?
They say you look like Eminem.
Eminem.
B Rabbit. Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
88 and 89, Auburn won 10 wins. It was 10 regular season wins.
Yeah.
So they won the Hall of Fame Bowl 1990 against Ohio State to give Auburn 10 wins. But never has Auburn had back-to-back 10 regular season win seasons.
Yep.
All right. Keith, yes.
We got one caller.
All right, let's do it, big dog. Last call.
1370. You're live.
B-Rabbit.
Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Lord George again. I didn't know the gloves were off. I didn't know Jay Lee was going to be doing bedroom talk, or that Keith was going to be wearing a pink shirt. So I'm calling it back fully loaded with this question.
You started us off, Lord George. Finish it, big dog.
Yeah, man.
Well, you guys kind of talked about it with again, this is all hypothetical, and I respect Jhead on the message board saying like, hey, I'm not going to talk about it until it happens, kind of thing. But in a more general sense, and you guys have been around the recruiting side of things, I mean, they have built, it sounds like, a administrative sort of army there to handle recruiting and I guess whatever they call scouting. But like, would those people all disappear? With a new regime come in, it totally would just like repurpose all of that. I don't know. It was just
that's a good question.
If it impacted recruiting.
LG, I was actually contemplating that over the weekend myself, and I'm thinking I talked to maybe it was Cole or maybe it was Keith, or maybe it was both. But the loyalties of those guys. Now, most of these guys are hired by Auburn and are employed by Auburn University. I think most of the hired by Harsin guys, if you're loyal to Harsin, you're going to go with him regardless. I don't think that's a question. But I am curious if there were to be a change, which we all expect there to be, who goes and who stays. And I'm talking about support staff. I fully expect Darren Usher to go with Brian Harsin if he were to go to – I know he's been mentioned that as a potential replacement at Colorado should he get let go at Auburn. Arizona State is another school mentioned. I fully expect Brian Harsin to be a head coach next year. I just don't expect it to be at Auburn. and he's got his guys, man. He's got his guys, and I hope they go with him because loyalty is a very important trait in the coaching, in college coaching. Hell, Gus knew it as well as anybody. Look at all the guys he took with him. Yeah. But that's an interesting question, Lord George. Keith, do you have anything you want to add there as far as like support staff?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's always dicey when you have a coaching change because, well, first of all, think about this. If suppose there was an opening and suppose Harsin was resigning, let's say at the end of the year, just it was his choice.
Right.
And you had people on the same staff apply for the job and one guy gets it and two others who apply don't get it. If you're the guy that gets it, do you keep the other two around? No.
I was trying to get it right.
It never. That used to happen a lot, by the way. That happened at I want to say Georgia Tech once. They're not. You're not going to keep guys around because you don't want to have a divided team. You don't want to have a divided locker room. And it doesn't mean guys are bad guys, but subconsciously, if you're a Gus guy or a Harsin guy, well, first of all, let's think about this. When Harsin gets here, he had to interview all the guys that were Gus guys. He only kept Cadillac, correct?
Right.
And I think he probably made the assumption, and correctly so, that Cadillac was loyal to Auburn. He wasn't a Gus guy. Where, a lot of us like Travis Williams a lot. And even though Travis Williams bleeds Auburn orange and blue, there was a perception, and I'm not saying it's true, but there was a perception that not only was he an Auburn guy, but he was a Gus guy.
Certainly.
Okay? And so, it's a difficult task for a new coach to come in and figure out who's going to be with me, okay? Who's going to be doing what I want to do. Now, you want a few people usually that are transitional people. Maybe they're on the staff for a year or two, and they can help you bridge that gap or, bridge the two staffs.
Especially in recruiting.
Especially speaking, it's hard. You want your people. Those are the people you've been around. Those are the people you're most comfortable with. Now, that's if you were a head coach. If you're an assistant somewhere, or if you're coming from the NFL somewhere, you might not have as many chip pieces in place like that. You know what I mean? If you hire a guy that's people have mentioned Joe Brady as a guy that'd be a college candidate. Well, he may not have that many guys, and he may say, I'm going to lean on some of these guys, but I'm going to interview them first and see how I feel about them. And here's the thing though, it's Auburn, and if there is a change made and a new person's hired in December, let's say, there's going to be a lot of applicants. Okay, because what does Auburn have? They got lots of money. Okay. It's a great place. Don't get me wrong. It's in a great conference. It's got a great school, great community, great everything. But that money.
They pay well.
And also, look, that's a top 15 program historically in college football. It's a big deal. We take it for granted. We're inside the bubble. And same with the fans. They love Auburn, and we love covering Auburn. And sometimes we forget how big Auburn is to people outside the bubble. It may be bigger to some of them than it is to some of the people inside the bubble, quite frankly. So you'll be flooded with applicants. But picking people's heart, it's really, I said a lot to say very little. Who do I trust? I'm the head coach. Who do I trust? Who shares my vision? Who is going to be loyal to me and the program? It's that simple.
I think that's well said.
I totally agree. I would say if you're a new coach coming in, you better get the guys that you trust and you want, because your time clock begins the day you take the job, and you don't have a long time. So you better have the guys that you trust in there these days for sure.
And can I add one more thing? And we don't see a lot of staffs do this nationwide. I think some of these guys need to get back to the good old days and find themselves some media boys that they can lean on.
Yeah.
That can, you can't come in, and I think that's one of the things that's been clear at some of the places where coaching staffs didn't work out in recent years. You can't come in and think you know everything. Now, if you worked at the school previously and have connections there, that's one thing. But if you're new to the scene, you might want to find some impartial people that can tell you when you're being a jerk, when you're wrong, how do the Auburn fans view things, because I don't really know the mindset of the Auburn fan just yet. And those people oftentimes are people in the media. I know a lot of fans don't want to hear that, but that's kind of the reality of the situation. And so that would be my advice. If and when this happens, and it's going to happen someday, is it going to be this season, or is it going to be 12 years from now? But that would be my advice to a new coach. Find some people you can lean on that will be nice to you and helpful to you not working for you. They're not. They don't need to carry your water, but basically be an ear for you when you need an ear to listen, somebody to listen to you.
Well, it's all messaging, right, Keith?
Yeah.
And look no further than across the state at Nick Saban and the relationship that he had with Cecil Hurt and how he used him more or less as a sounding board at times with how his program was perceived or how this would play with the fan base. Nick doesn't get enough credit for being phenomenal at that. And, look, I hate to talk about Alabama on an Auburn platform ever, but if it works for him, then I think it would be well played by us to make sure that we're doing the same thing. Now, on the thought of retention, because of the rule changes, I do think that there's the potential for there to be more retention than there has been in the past, where typically you would have only kept one guy. I think because of the change in official visits, where you can rehost prospects if there's a coaching change, I think there's a likelihood that you could keep 2, maybe even 3 guys from this staff, and the likelihood is even larger on the off the field side. I mean, think of it from the transition from the Gus era to the Harsin era. He kept 2 guys in Ryan Treshelle and Ryan Smith, and I feel like those guys paid huge dividends in that first recruiting class with making relationships with the staff that came clear across the country. Having a guy like Drew Fabianich that's already set up kind of a scouting department, and you don't keep all of his guys, but if you keep the guy that understands all the working pieces, if he falls in your vision, and you're right, Keith, you have to make sure that they're aligned with you, because if they're not and there's any kind of clash, they've got to move. You need complete buy-in from your staff. But if there's the potential that they're committed to what it is, to your vision, to your philosophy, I think the door is open for more retention than there has been in the past.
I am not going to entertain a number 1 candidate because I don't have one.
Jhead, because he took his gloves off tonight, I believe.
That's fair. I don't. I know who Jhead. You've always you come off as a freeze guy to me.
A freeze guy? Do I think that he could work at Auburn? I do. I think he could be successful. Is he my number 1 candidate? No. If I were a athletic director and I were hiring anybody in America right now, a guy that I hear whispered about in coaching circles all the time is Luke Fickell. He would be my number 1 target, a guy that understands. He's recruited the South an extensive amount, both Georgia, Alabama, and Florida. He's run his own program. He's coached in a playoff and elevated a complete program. He's a program builder and a recruiter. And I think he was the number 1 recruiter on staff for both Urban Meyer and Jim Tressel. 2 good guys if you want to learn the college game from. So that would be my number 1 target. Now, do I think other guys can work at Auburn? Absolutely. And they may even be better fits. But that's the guy that I would target.
Dane, only thing I will say is Hugh Freeze is not my number 1 candidate. Nor will he ever be.
I'd like to get all y'all's number 1 overall. I mean, like, I hate talking about somebody while the body's not cold yet, obviously. You know what I mean? But who, if it happened, who would be your number 1, and who would be a sleeper that literally nobody's talking about, but you think is a good coach?
Dave Aranda. I just want to throw that out there. The fact that Dave Aranda hasn't been thrown out aggravates me.
It's been on the boards a little bit. My sleeper of all sleepers, I mean, they may have to miss on 27 guys to get there, is Jeff Traylor of UTSA. And I'm going to tell you why. I believe he's a former high school coach in Texas, and I know that's not Alabama. I know that's not Georgia. That's Florida. But if you were a high school coach in Texas, you are probably plugged in. You are probably a guy that understands relationships with high school kids and high school parents and things like that. So that would be my dark horse of all dark horse. But if I had an opening in the SEC right now, and I think that's the better way to say it, because I've said it before. I like these guys. I don't love every move that Auburn's made. But guess what? They don't like everything I write either. Okay, that's life. Go. That's life. That's their. That's no. I mean, that's unfair. We should all be fair to these guys. They've earned that. Okay.
Agreed.
But if I was at one of these schools, the guy I'd be looking at the closest is he knows how to build a program, not just coach a program, not just coach quarterbacks, call plays, build a program. My guy would be Matt Rule. That would be my number 1 choice right now.
I hear you on that, Keith. Cole?
I'm this guy. I'm a proponent for hiring an offensive line coach as a head coach. I think Sam
Jeff
Pittman was a
Grimes
good
is
choice
coming,
for Arkansas. Nope. I was going to say Kyle Flood from Texas that was at Alabama. Kyle Flood, man, that dude, wherever he goes, he gets the top guys. He doesn't get good guys. He gets the top guys. And if you're looking for, to me, these days, to be an SEC head coach, you got to be a CEO. Hire good coordinators. Don't worry about play calling. You be the CEO. You handle things. So totally out of left field, sleeper, Kyle Flood, just because I like to be a little bit different. Yeah, I'm just gonna stay with that.
Who's your number one?
Number one, I'll tell you what. I won't give you a name. I would ask every Alabama fan who would scare you at Auburn, and who do you want to replace Saban? And whoever they name, that's probably one of your better choices, if I had to guess. And I think they would name Lane Kiffin, to be honest.
Okay.
So,
Jay Lee, you're up.
Yeah. Oh, Lane Kiffin.
Number one for you.
Number one for me. And he's a fantastic football coach, no doubt about it, dude. And he will score points, but he also rubbed the shit out of Nick Saban. It would be glorious.
That was my point.
It would be glorious. You know who my dark horse is?
Who's your dark horse?
I might be a little biased here. Travis Williams.
I
knew that was coming.
You want to talk about uniting? You want to talk about uniting? A guy who loves Auburn, who's engaged with the fans and knows what it takes. He might be a flop. I don't know, but he would be my dark horse. Like if he were, and he would recruit the shit out of it. Recruiting to me is number one. Lane can recruit. He can restock this roster with the portal. He could have Auburn at a level or two above of what they are right now within a year, just because of his success in the transfer portal.
Jeffrey, I'm probably Travis. I mean, if you're not his biggest fan, then it's me. But I'll tell you, if we were going to say the one guy that would make Auburn Live the most money,
Deion Sanders.
That's important too, right? I mean, we've all got Maseratis on order right now. Jhead
right.
Launcha is on layaway.
Yeah,
he's a rocket surgeon after all.
Yeah,
That's
Cole's,
right.
Cybertruck is on layaway as well, and but it's Deion, because you want to talk about page views through the roof on your site, recruiting coverage insanity, okay, and nonstop national stories with writers across the country weighing in on it. If that's what you were looking for, then he's your guy. And look, there's going to be if and when this happens, there's going to be plenty of good choices. Sometimes Auburn fans forget one thing. I love them to death. This is Auburn University. Okay,
Yeah.
It is Auburn. This is not Wofford's football. That's not even fair to Wofford. They have a hell of a program, but you know what I'm saying.
They haven't won a game this year.
This is not New
They're at
Hampshire.
Wofford.
That's right. This is not New Hampshire Teachers College. This is Auburn. Okay, think big.
You want Urban Meyer?
Listen, man, you want to talk about a guy that could restock the roster pretty quickly.
Let me ask y'all about a name,
Are
because
we asking him to dance at the same time?
Hold on. Let's think. How many tier 1 coaches are there besides Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney, Kirby Smart? I mean, I'm putting Urban Meyer up there with those guys.
Oh yeah.
If you're going to take a chance on somebody, I'm taking a chance on Urban Meyer 75 freaking times over Hugh Freeze. Instant credibility, instant national title contender year in and year out with Urban Meyer. You're a 10-win season ceiling with Hugh Freeze.
Woo!
bringing
Ceiling.
the
All right.
heat.
Now, all right, look, man. I can't do herbs, bro. He's gonna fake a heart attack somewhere between the Georgia game and Alabama game, so he doesn't coach at Auburn anymore.
Name. Because I know someone who covers Georgia Tech football, and they're worried that Auburn's going to look at this guy, and that's why they have hesitancy about him, and that's Dale McGee.
Oh,
Dale McGee?
Yeah.
Man, I'm not ready for that yet. And I don't know. All I know is he's an awesome recruiter. He's got great ties around here.
I think it's the experience thing that hurts him with Dale, right? Like he's only ever been a position coach. And so with him not having more autonomy within a program as far as the direction of one side of a ball or the other, it scares you to a degree.
Yeah. Now, Urban Meyer had only been a position coach when he got his first head coaching job.
Sam Pittman.
I believe. Yeah, exactly. You know, somewhere out there's a position coach who's going to be the next star. Somewhere out there's a guy at a program that's going 500, but he ain't got the resources. He's damn great.
Yeah,
I'll give you an example of a guy out there that people think the world of, and it's the guy at Cal, Wilcox.
Just hit
there's a risk with everything. There really is. And I'm not saying he's a candidate for the job. I'm just saying, but it's up to the look. We love people love going after the quote unquote powers that be and the power structure at Auburn. Well, they got a tough job ahead because it's their job to find the next stud. And it's not just because a guy's going to somewhere else doesn't guarantee that it's going to happen.
Hold on, Keith. Back up now. Remember, this is Auburn University.
I got that.
We don't hire position coaches to try their hand at being a head coach.
No, I agree with that.
This isn't New Hampshire.
Now, and that's
New
what
Hampshire
we're saying.
State Teachers College, yeah.
Urban Meyer's
pretty good. It's got to be New Hampshire's like the off-brand one.
Yeah, Urban Meyer's first head coaching job was at Bowling Green. He had to earn his way to Utah and to Florida. He didn't just he didn't get Florida off the cuff. But you're right, Keith. I mean, I think you have to be open to all candidates at this point, and you have to be willing to hear various pitches. But I think to step into a job like Auburn, politically savvy, regardless of whatever experience you have, you need to be able to navigate that landscape, have unique insight into that. That's for sure.
I know y'all want to make one more point. Somebody called me today and they said, you know who I think the least risky coach would be of all the guys we've mentioned? The least risky. And he said, I think it's Deion. Because he said, you know what? Even if he just can't cut it as a coach, you know he's going to make that roster better. You know he's going to be able to recruit.
That would be the most talented roster in Auburn history. And within 2 years, Auburn would have the most talented roster in its history. You talking about blue chip ratio, Jhead?
Yeah.
Well, y'all saw that James Smith and Quay Rusall just happened to be visiting Alabama State this weekend when Jackson State's going in there to put probably 70 on them this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, look.
And Deion's affiliated with Under Armour, and you know who else is affiliated with Under Armour? That little school in Florida called IMG Academy.
I just think there's less than 0% chance that Deion gets hired at Auburn. I really do.
Yeah, I'm almost positive that there is. I haven't heard anything leak. I mean, I think he's going to get an interview. I honestly believe that. I think
yeah.
I think he's going to get an interview 100% if he wants one. But the way it's trending, I feel like they want somebody to spin through the fire a little bit to take this job. Just because, and I made this comp elsewhere, what you pray is that Deion, and his ceiling is through the roof. There's no question. I think he's shown at Jackson State that he understands how to run a program at a much lower level. But once he transitions to the Power 5 level, what you're hoping is he doesn't turn into Penny Hardaway at Memphis, okay? A guy that didn't have a ton of experience, lights out recruiter, but the results on the basketball court have been mixed to a degree. So that's the fear. That's what's associated with Deion right now is, can he make that transition? We know he can recruit. We know we can acquire talent, and that is probably the number one thing that you have to do as a head football coach in the SEC. But when everybody has the same amount of talent, do you know how to separate yourself? Do you know how to run that program to do the things that you need to do to get wins versus Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida? You know what I mean? Because when you get to a certain point, talent becomes comparable. And that's where the X's and O's come in.
When I was at IMG a couple of weeks ago, I was speaking to somebody that's in the big power structure down there, big part of the whole operation. And they said, one thing with Deion that people don't realize, he is extremely well respected among people in the NFL.
Yeah.
And they think he would have no problem at any school putting together a major staff. At Jackson State His tight ends coach is Tim Brewster. Okay, former
Phenomenal
Minnesota head coach, Florida, FSU, both those schools tight ends coach. The premier tight ends coach maybe in the last 20 years of college football. Also on the staff, Mike Zimmer, former Minnesota Vikings head coach
and Cowboys defensive coordinator. Yeah.
I mean, at Jackson State, guys, something about this guy, man. It may not be Auburn, but he's going to end up somewhere. And I just have a feeling some other schools are going to be kicking themselves.
Yeah, somebody's going to gamble for sure.
And I will say this: I've watched some videos since his name's been brought up. I've been watching some videos on him. He's not prime time.
No, he's Dion.
He's damn right, and he is. He's changed my tune. Now, when I listen to him preach to his boys about what not to do, I'm thinking, dude, you didn't do that shit in high. I mean, when you was you got to go to this class, and you got to pull your pants up. I'm going, dude, you walked into there with the clock on.
They had the Dion rule for a reason. Let's put it that way in Florida, okay? But yeah, I mean, he's grown up like we all do. Right?
Teaching from experience, right?
And listening to him talk, it was inspiring. I mean, you could tell, man. He I respect. I wanted to hear more. He moved me.
Dion's intelligent. He's genuine. He knows how to work a crowd. You know what I mean? Like, he's got everything that you want. I think the only thing that limits him is his no experience at the G5 or the P5 level. I think that is the fear that's associated with him right now. But somebody is going to dance with Dion, and it's going to pay off. I firmly believe that. I just don't know if it's going to be this cycle. Is it going to be Arizona State? Are they going to take a shot there? I think there's somebody that's very interested.
Georgia Tech, man.
I hear mixed things coming out of that. It sounds like they want like a Bill O'Brien type. That's the word that's coming out of that program.
The old white guy.
I wouldn't say the old white guy, but you know what I mean.
Jamie Chadwell too
Yeah.
is a name that has been run through there. But I also want to remind people that Jim Tressel came straight out of Youngstown State to Ohio State and went on to win a national title. And Chris Kleiman is doing pretty good things at Kansas City.
Yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah.
Go to State. So there is a precedent from jumping from FCS to Power 5 and being pretty successful.
I agree.
Is there any part of you guys? I grew up. I had a lot of black friends growing up, like every racist says. But I did, and I grew up down in Florida, and guys I went to high school with played football at FAMU. We call it FAMU, Florida A&M. Their band used to always play the homecoming at the University of Florida, so I've always followed that program and had an interest in the HBCs. One of Howard's great players was a guy named Lee DeBose, who went to the same high school as current Gators quarterback Anthony Richardson. So I followed HBCs since I was a kid. Selfishly, and obviously Walter Payton went to Jackson State. The only autograph I've ever gotten in my life was Eddie Robinson, the Grambling coach. He sat next to me at a Sugar Bowl one year.
Wow.
So I feel like I look, for considering I'm a middle-aged white guy, I'm interested. Part of me selfishly wants to see what Dion could do if somebody donated $100 million to Jackson State and they were able to move up to D1 too.
Look,
Did y'all see Bo Hughley is also attending the Jackson State-Alabama State game this weekend? He's officially, not officially, but he's going to be at that game. I just got texted by my Alabama State guy.
Well, that's big. I mean, that's
wow. Hey, let me.
Everything about Bo.
Here's the thing about Dion and Auburn. Not one fan would complain.
No.
Not everybody would back that higher, right? I mean, am I wrong?
No, I think there are some that would probably have reservations, but they would not complain at all. They're the ones that may be on the out kind of right now saying, hey, we need to go in a different direction. They would be quiet or would be muted because they would be so captivated by the show that
You're right.
And he would bring. But I think more than not, and Cole, let's get your opinion here. I think you would have a fan base that was ecstatic about somebody of the stature of Dion being involved at Auburn University.
Yeah, I think it would be, the spark hire that people want, the splash hire, whatever you call it. I mean, that's why his name is in discussion right now, because of fans.
I mean, it'd be worth it just to see FSU Twitter burn, wouldn't it? I mean, come on.
Keith would love that.
Well, I mean, I mean, he's an interesting guy, and I would any of us let's see, I'm trying to count how many guys here. Would any of us 5 have even thought this 3 years ago?
No.
This guy's changed a lot of.
I thought it was a joke when he was hired at Jackson State.
Nobody thinks that anymore, and that's
hell no.
That's a damn credit to him. Okay.
Agreed.
Absolutely, man. Nothing would make me enjoy my job more than Deion Sanders. Here's the deal, though. Again, it's fun to talk about. It's fun to, envision what the recruiting classes would look like and what these 5 stars you're talking about. I love covering Bruce Pearl because, man, these 5 stars come. They're legit. They're just not visiting Auburn. Right. It's legit, and that's what Deion Sanders would bring to Auburn. But it will never happen. It just won't.
Well, yeah, you got to think about who's making the decision.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
What did they want?
Right. You want everybody aligned and all this. That would be tough to do with Deion. As much as I would love it, it's just not going to happen. Not going to happen. Zach, did we get caught up on everybody, man?
Yeah. Call line shut down. We're good to go.
One last thing before we go, folks. Y'all.
Yay! It worked last week.
Throw him the damn ball. Throw him the damn ball. Oh man! Hey, great show. Great show. Probably our best one ever, man. Well, Jhead taking the gloves off really opened some things up, and being able to say, you know what, we're all on the same page here, man. As much as we'd like to see Brian Harsin finish the year 9-3 or 10-2, all right, it's just not going to happen, and it's a bad fit for him. And it's a bad fit for Auburn, and we all feel like it's only a matter of time before he is no longer coach at Auburn. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but I think we're to the point now where it's fair to at least discuss the possibility that it's going to happen, or the likelihood that it's going to happen. Sure. Which made for an interesting show, which made for some interesting questions, even more interesting answers. We appreciate everybody. Lord George, I can't say that. Lord George, getting us started and finished tonight. Bryce from Beulah, appreciate your call. Anthony against the spread, both from Moody, got Moody twice. Scott from Virginia, Jhead, your man. I hear you, Scott. Roderick from Birmingham, Quattro with the Volvo. Is it Volvo?
Kia Sorento.
Audi, damn it.
There you go.
Ranger 361, Mr. Fuller, man, we appreciate your call. Roger from Birmingham, and then Dane coming in there strong. I think Blake R jumped in there with somebody with an answer or something. But anyways, we had a lot of participation. We certainly appreciate everybody. And there'll be much more coming this week on Auburn Live on 3. If you're not a member, get signed up. 50% off right now. Absolute steal. You're on our YouTube page right now, folks. Please just like and subscribe to our channel. It helps us. I don't know how, but it helps us. We'd appreciate that. And look for more content in the morning. Keith and I are going to have a special guest on our Inside the 20 podcast. It's going to be very intriguing and interesting. Stay tuned for that. What's next? That's Wednesday. Thursday, we've got the modcast. Friday, we'll be back for a recruiting show, but we'll talk in season, man. All topics are going to be discussed. So a lot of content coming for the rest of the week. Of course, Auburn will travel to Athens, Georgia on Saturday for the 2:30 p.m. Central game, SEC game on CBS. The line is about 45. No, I think it's 29. But so see if Auburn can at least cover. Anyway, hey, thanks everybody for listening. We really appreciate everybody. For Jhead, for Pink, for Keith, for Zach there in the back, I'm Jeffrey Lee. Y'all stay out of the left lane. See ya.